Lao Tzu once said, if you do not change direction, you may end up where you're heading. Welcome to McBain Moments. Alright, if you're new to the channel, welcome to the manor. Make sure you take a moment and subscribe down below. We are on the road to 13 million subscribers, one subscription at a time, so make sure you subscribe. Change of direction is the theme of today's talk, and it's something that you really need to look at yourself about and allow yourself not to make assumptions about where you're heading. Because when you're heading in the direction, you think the road is clear, you think there's no obstacles, you think everything's great. But you may miss the fact that instead of climbing, you're actually on a very slow downslope. And so how do you resolve this? You resolve this by, well, to take the metaphor literally, you take a marble and you drop it on the ground and see which way it rolls. You know, the goal of any life should be to climb, right? To get to end higher in your skill level, in your socioeconomic status, and all of the things higher than when you began. But there are places that appear to be flat. I mean, everyone plateaus for a while. You don't know, you're trying to make the breakthrough, you're trying to figure things out. But if you're not paying attention, you can end up on a very slight descent. And you won't notice it until it's too late. And you've got a much harder climb to get back up to where you were. Because you can't just turn around and go back the other direction. It doesn't work like that. Time is linear. At least to us it's linear. And so every once in a while you need to stop on whatever road you're traveling. Literal or figurative, but mostly figurative. Look around you and determine, am I still climbing or am I actually slowly losing altitude? If you're losing altitude, you need to reconfigure. It's like, what direction can I go that'll put me back on the climb? Because if you fail to do so, if you just accept the fact that you're on the downslope, all you're doing is giving up. You're retreating. You're throwing away all the work you put in because you have decided that it's not worth it anymore. And if you don't change direction, that's where you're going to end up. Back where you started or worse. And so what do? You reevaluate. You determine, okay, where did I lose step? Where did I lose track? Do I still have my goals in mind? Have I been writing down my goals? Do I still care about my goals? Maybe you had a goal that you were all gung-ho about, and then something happens to where you're like, that goal really doesn't fit where I want to go, the direction I want to go. And when you do that, you can't just stop pursuing goals. That's not how it works. Yeah, you might take a short time to reassess and realign, and you may even retreat a little bit because you're inevitably down that road a certain distance. You might have to come back to the last crossroad and turn a different direction. But the idea is that withdrawal has to be very short term. Preferably days instead of weeks, preferably weeks instead of months. If you're into months, you got problems. Because once you're into the months status, even into the week status, it becomes easier and easier to not care. And once you stop caring, everything goes downhill. And it could be a gradual decline, or it could be a rapid one. It all depends on your personality, any underlying thought patterns, or experiences that might cause you to doubt or to become apathetic. Apathy is probably the biggest destroyer of lives out there, well beyond anything overtly negative. Because when you have overtly negative thoughts, you actually mentally try to combat them. And the people around you will actively try to combat them. Apathy, on the other hand, people don't know how to handle apathy. You don't know how to handle apathy. I don't know how to handle apathy. It's just like, I don't care. Why bother? Okay, whatever. How do you combat that? You can't combat it. But apathy is just as bad, if not worse, than actively negative thoughts. Because, actively negative thoughts will push you down the slope faster. But usually there's going to be someone, if not yourself, that'll see you falling and grab you by the collar. And at least hold you there. And be like, nope, no further. Turn that shit around. Come back. Or those actively negative thoughts might be getting you to that crossroads you need to get to realign and change direction. But if you're not careful, you keep heading down that slope, then you're going to end up with nothing left. Your brain is not going to be able to process the idea that you can in fact succeed at what you set out to succeed at. Your emotions are not going to be able to handle setbacks. And when that happens, when you allow yourself to kind of get into that cycle, you spiral. It's just like a drain. You spiral. And we're all guilty of it. The most successful people in the world are guilty of it. You're guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. Hell, a lot of your success stories start with a downward spiral. You know, I've been quoting Grant Cardone a lot. He went down the downward spiral into drugs and everything else, and then he climbed his way out of it the hard way. He replaced drugs with overwork. And some people say that's good, and some people say that's bad. It worked for him. He's a multimillionaire. He has like $1 billion in real estate he manages. And he makes 1% off of it, and when you make 1% off $1 billion, it's still a lot of money. You know, so you can climb out of the spiral. And if you notice you're spiraling, it's usually easier to climb out of the spiral because you can reach out for help. And there's no shame in reaching out for help. You know, I got into a thought pattern recently over some personal business, and ended up starting to spiral mentally. Not necessarily making it so my life was worse, but it would head in that direction if I let it go on too long. And so I reached out to actually one of my mentees for help and let them know. And she's just like, nope, stop, come back, not gonna happen. And that's why friends exist. That's why you have friends, to reach out for that help before it gets to the point where you need professional help. Because a lot of times, if you ask for the help early, you don't need the big guns. You don't need the professional help. You don't need someone that can kick you in the ass. You can get someone who will just grab you by the collar and prevent you from spiraling any further and just pull you out of the drain before you get down too far. But it's got to be up to you. You're the only one who can change that direction. And if you don't change that direction, you're going to end up where you're headed. This has been a McBain moment.